Full time at St Andrews, Coventry City 0, Watford 0. Repeat of the game at Millwall, and that is just not good enough. For a team coming down from the Premier League to not be dealing with these teams like Coventry, we shall not get promoted. I mean, we might get promoted through luck, through the playoffs, what have you, but we don't deserve to be promoted. We don't deserve to be better in our points qualification than the other teams at the top of the league. The likes of your Brentfords, Swanseas, Norwiches. They put in much more effort to actually get games and get them by the scruff of the neck and get the points out of them. And yes, you'd say we've just got as much quality in our squad as those teams, but there's no use if you're not going to utilise the quality. It's another 0-0 draw, and in the context of the game, it's probably not a bad point because we were second best. But in the context of every other situation, a 0-0 draw against Coventry is not good enough. So disappointing, so disheartening. We just cannot score goals, and there's just this overall squad attitude of, we'll just breeze past and coast through the first half. Second half, if we feel like it, we might maybe create a few chances and score a goal, hopefully. That's the mentality. It's a mentality of hope, not making things happen. We need to change our mentality, change our style of play, because it's not working. And as soon as we do that, we might get different results. But it just feels like, at half-time especially, we weren't doing enough in that first half. We were looking sluggish. We were looking slow, and we don't make any subs at half-time. Come on, we got to change things up, because otherwise the games are just going to be like this every single time of the season, and we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to stay in the Championship and just struggle to get any progress. So let's kind of wrap up my thoughts on that first half, and then we'll go into the second half. It wasn't the best of games. Sorry for all those Sky viewers having to, get through that. A little bit hard to watch at times. And you felt already in that first half it was getting to be uncomfortable just because of the way we play. We don't play with fast counter-attacking. We play slow build-up, no quick passing, and it just doesn't feel like we have any movement from our forward players. So we'll start off with that first half, and there was the chance where basically their forward, Biamu, got in way too easily. And he dragged it wide. Very, very fortunate for us. Because Bachmann was probably surprised it was so easy for his defence to let him in and get in behind us. So, yeah, that was a stroke of luck. Then, obviously, Messina with a shot from distance. And I don't mind that as long as we get creating of chances. And we didn't do that in the second half or the first half. So, we have the problem that the only thing we can do is have a few pot shots from, 20 yards from our fullbacks. And Gakia did the same in the first half. But the point is, we're just getting desperate. We're not making things happen. The shot was well wide from Adam Messina. We had a free kick, and we say this every week, but I'm going to say it again. We don't make the use of set pieces. It's just not good enough. It's basic stuff that you need to practice on the training ground, defending set pieces, which we clearly didn't do against QPR, and then actually being able to use set pieces to your advantage in the offensive, and getting balls into the box from corners. You wouldn't think would be a hard thing for professional footballers, but it is for us. We can't get them back past the first man, and most of the time, it usually is straight into the goalie's gloves. And from the free kick, we just can't score goals. We haven't done it in ages, since I think an Alman Abdi goal against Aston Villa when we beat them 3-2. So it's been such a long wait. We haven't got that creative provider, and we just look like a lot of individuals that aren't really getting connected to each other. So the free kick from Sema, it had the flight on it. It had a bit of swerve, but not at all the direction, and it was fairly comfortable for the goalie there, Morosi, to see it go wide. So then there was a chance for Andre Gray, and Andre Gray starting, much to the disappointment of a lot of Watford fans who really do batter him. His first touch isn't good, and he doesn't have confidence. We just don't have a striker that's going to be prolific, and we don't have a striker that's mobile. We're very, very static most of the time, and Gray just didn't look in this game, but he did have that notable chance of the first half, only one on target in the first half, which is just not good enough. And you could even say it was not intended, like more of a cross than a shot, but it was given as a shot on target. And I suppose I'm going to say he mentioned it, or he meant it, but whether he did or not, only we can ask Gray to know. But basically received the ball, and the goalkeeper was slightly off his line, so the ball was kind of chipped forward, and the goalie had to tip it over. In the build-up, nice ball from Ngakia. A bit more purposeful, a bit more ambitious to actually not be passive and go for it and bend it towards goal. But gave it to Gray, and Morosi had to really deal with that one. Not necessarily a difficult one to deal with, but still had to be stopped. So he had to tip it over the bar. And in times in this game, just giving too much space for Coventry's players. And we're lucky that they didn't have the clinical nature and the clinical edge today to punish us, because so much space on the edge of the box. And it's just simple stuff, really. We need to mark up, and we're not doing it. We're ball watching, and we're just not getting our players and being defensively sound and defensively smart. Just mark up. It's as simple as that. So, for Harmer, Gustavo Harmer is probably their most dangerous player, and you'd think we'd pick him up. But on the edge of the box, he's absolutely got the freedom of that pitch and is able to get a header away, but luckily not too powerful that it would fly past Backman, and it was collected by the goalkeeper quite well on that occasion. But it could have easily bounced into the ground, hit with a bit more pace, or even hit with a different angle and a different corner, and he's in trouble. So not good at all. And then Deeney tries to clip the ball into the box, and it just shows in that first half the lack of intensity and lack of passion, because there's nobody there for the cross from Deeney. No desire to get players into the box and actually attack the ball. So it's just not good enough. And set pieces, we are so vulnerable. How they didn't score that header from Dominic Hyam is just beyond me, because it is so close to the goal, a few yards out, and it's actually Messina that gave it to him in the chance with his flick on with the header. And that header from Hyam really has to go in. So, we're counting our lucky stars. We're not 1-0 down after that first half. And then a shot from Ngakia. Not a bad effort. Nice little shift to get it onto his other foot. And the shot wasn't too far off, just slightly above the crossbar. But really just not showing enough. And, we question this team. And I do have to ask, why don't we close down? Because it's just simple football rules that if you close down, you will force mistakes. And there was just a lack of passion and a lack of ideas. And Coventry, much the better team in that first half, actually chasing balls down and winning them back and looking like they want to get it off us. And in that first half, we were just losing so many of the individual battles. And, our strikers are just living on scraps at the minute. The wingers weren't in the game at all. And as I said, we were lucky to not be 1-0 down, because there was also the chance for Biamu. Biamu with the header straight into the ground, and I've got to be honest, I thought it was in. The angle of the goal, it was kind of around the goalkeeping, the goal frame, and I thought it was in. But far too easy for him to get the shot away, and fortunate it didn't go in. But then some endeavour from O'Hare, and it's just too easy to let him get past it. Ngakia had to deal with it. He didn't, and had the shot, and did O'Hare, and luckily Backman collected it. And then, of course, Gustavo Harmer, we know he's going to be dangerous, and he collected a little back heel, had a shot. Again, too much freedom to do it, but luckily shot wide. So, all the action was in Coventry's It's in Coventry's attack, all of it down our end. So our attack just far too slow to create chances, and really we were hanging on in that first half. So it was an absolutely dreadful first half, and you thought surely it'll get better from here, and it did get better, but it's not the right mentality, you know. It's all very well like having a good team, but if you don't use it correctly and if you don't show the desire to create chances, then you're gonna, slide down the table like we are doing at the minute. And it's no good showing the attack quality that we did at times, the pressing and the slight areas and times of pressure on their goal. It's no good doing that so late on, because you're just going to run out of time and you're just going to feel as though you regret not doing it sooner, because Coventry were able to get their men back and see out the attacking. So really, in that second half, it was a pretty abysmal one, but slightly better from Watford, slightly better. But it's funny because after that QPR game, the game that we absolutely bottled, threw it away, no intensity, Munoz came out and said himself, claiming the responsibility of the fact that he needed to improve that team. They said tomorrow they would work on intensity and they would be much, much better. But then the first half, it was just like we were carrying on from the QPR game. So clearly not. And maybe he's, said at the half-time interval, you got to improve the intensity, lads. And we did do that in the second half. But why have we not done it from the start? It's just not good. And in the second half, there were little flashes. But again, nothing from us that is good enough to actually warrant a goal. And the ball from Deeney was much better. Nice pass into Andre Gray. And it's just summing up our luck, because Gray shoots and Sarr gets in his way. And it's just like, come on, a bit more awareness of where's the player around you and get out of the way of it. Ismaila Sarr also had a shot that he mishit well over. And O'Hare again, providing a bit of a thorn in our defence. And he was just getting so much time, and he got 4 and he got set it to Hamer, and luckily he got too far for us, for liking it. It was just some individual mistakes from Ekong letting him in. I've got to say though, Ekong had a good game today, so I'm not going to dwell on that too much, but it's far too easy for Hamer to get a shot away, but luckily again Bachmann gets behind it and cuts out the chance. McCallum, of course, had a few flashes in that second half for the home side, skewed that wide. And in a game that we really should comfortably be getting the win, we're just second best. We just really are. And it will give other teams hope. The likes of Bournemouth, the likes of Norwich and Swansea. Norwich obviously losing on Friday, but Swansea now are probably thinking, we can hold on to our second spot because there's no threat from Watford. So it's just not really good. And whenever we press, of course, surprise, surprise, Coventry make mistakes. So it just begs the question, why do we not do it more often? Because, it's just a lack of fight throughout the 90 minutes. And that's always causing us issues from our point of view. And it's a better ball in, better delivery, improved slightly from Sema after that Deeney flick on. And it finds its way into the box, but guess what? Nobody's there attacking it. So, it's really not useful if we're not going to commit players into the box and commit players to actually run at the ball and try and get shots away, because we're just standing there hoping it's going to fall to us and it's going to be a wonderful, wonder strike. Well, you don't get those often, so we can't count on that. And we can't always count on a Deeney penalty to just get us out of jail, because it's not going to get you promotion. It's as simple as that. And obviously, Andre Gray, it was a frustrating one. He got subbed off. And you could argue it's just unfortunate he's not getting enough service. There's an element of that, but there's also, he needs to be taking a bit more responsibility and just making a few more runs where we can actually slip him in. If there was more opportunities to do that, then there's more chances of him getting shots away. But yeah, just the communication at times is just off from our side. And we always say, the strike partnership should work. Gray and Deeney, we've said time and time again, it doesn't. And when we have Gray and Pedro, it doesn't work. We never seem to have those on at the same time. Gray came off for Pedro. And Pedro was all right. You know, he at least was trying things when he came on. But at times a little bit, you know, not as good as he would have liked. And, you know, we just have to be more clinical. But yeah, Gray's just in a very, very bad way at the minute in terms of his confidence and in terms of all our forwards' confidence. We just cannot score goals. One of the fewest goals away from home. I think we scored 7, which is absolutely dreadful. But then the other side of it is that we don't concede goals away from home. So that's all very well. But if you're going to draw 0-0 games every week away from home, you're not going to get promoted. It's not going to get you wins. So a shot from McCallum as well was deflected, and actually Bachmann did quite well here because it was, you know, spinning, and crucially the goalkeeper got really behind it and gathered the ball to stop any rebounds because there was actually someone following in. So if he'd have spilt that, then we'd have definitely been 1-0 down. But, you know, we start the last periods of the game and you think, right, now is time to make a name for yourself. Someone just a moment of magic, because we were second best. Coventry will feel absolutely gutted they didn't win that game. It's 2 points dropped for them, I think, with the chances they had. Obviously, it's a good point because it's Coventry and it's Watford for us. So it's still 2 points dropped for us, I'd say, because it's a great opportunity to get higher in the promotion race. But it's also, when you think about it, the chances that Coventry had, we should have lost that. So it's another point, but it's just not good. And Deeney had a chance where he basically chests it down, and Deeney sometimes won the headers today, sometimes he didn't. It was mixed success, and when he did, it was no use because there's players like miles off, not even ready to receive the knockdown. So it's just not useful at all. And when he did chest it down for Sema was pretty unsure where the goal was and just really smacked it wide of the goal. And Will Hughes, maybe he's a man to create us something, but what I don't understand is he's a player that Munoz has come out and said is a key one for us, yet he doesn't start him, and then he doesn't bring him on till very, very late on 72 minutes, and that's not soon enough, you know? Why wait so long to bring someone that could unlock the defence into the game? It's frustrating me. So we do give away a lot of silly fouls, and that's just breaking up our play, really, stopping us from getting down the other end and getting more shots on goal. We didn't have enough shots to test the goalkeeper today. And, you know, I think Bachmann was solid in his goalkeeping, but we really just should be winning those kind of games. And a few times, the header man was really threatening us, header man, but he is having headers, and that was Hyam. And again, just poor defending from set pieces, and we get out-muscled from the aerial duel. And luckily, Bachmann was ready to be basically standing in the middle of the goal, but it was hit straight at him with a header. And then again, O'Hare with a shot, and again, Bachmann behind it. So, you know, he's got the positioning right, but is it a bit of luck? Is it a bit of naivety from the defence to just assume it's going to fall into his hands every time? Yes, possibly, but luckily we kept the clean sheet. It's just not good enough going forward, though. And Sema, at times, does show the passion. It's just there's no one to back it up. So, you know, the ball much, much better into the box. Our delivery today was not good, especially from the likes of maybe Ismail Assar and Joao Pedro. But Sema much better today in terms of, you know, his efforts and his, at least, willingness to try and do something different. We just didn't look like any different from games this season, and that's what frustrates me. I came in today thinking, come on, a bit disillusioned. We need to see something different today, and we didn't really change it up. Zinkernagel still stayed on the bench. It's just crazy stuff. And at least, you know, Messina was starting, but I just feel like our team is just not gelling, and it's a real issue. It's a worrying situation. And the ball, yes, as I said, from Sema was much better, but then the finish is not there, and Sarr collect it. There would have been a contentious maybe decision if that's a goal from Sarr, because it might have just flicked off his hand, but he collects it, drags it wide anyway, and it's a really annoying one to have to just move on with. But then there's a little bit of interplay when Pedro comes on. Sarr to Pedro, and then, you know, Sarr is actually doing the right thing here. He isn't shooting from an impossible angle where you're not going to get it on target, you're probably going to blaze it over. Instead, he sets it for the Brazilian. Nice little ball, but Pedro, fresh off the bench, you've got to have more power in the shot. It's got to be one that he just levers it, and he doesn't. He just strokes it, and it's a good save, to be fair, from the Coventry goalie, that is Morosi. But he should be absolutely smashing that. And then the header was the main one really from Troy Deeney, the captain. Absolutely fantastic that he's winning that so powerfully. But it hits the crossbar, and the goalie's just walking back thinking, hopefully it won't go in. And luckily for them, it does hit the bar and rebounds out. But, we just left it too late in this game. And it was really summing up the frustrations of today when Sema doing well, trying to drag us back into this game, putting balls into the box. And there's one chance where Coventry have it, and then it deflects off the heel of a Coventry man. So Sema, the ball is going out for a corner, and what does he do? He goes and gives away a needless foul. So when we were starting to just get through into their half and start to create a bit of pressure, we just give them back the ball. We give them back the possession from a free kick. So it's just so annoying. And the main chance really at the end of it was that Parika one, but it was picking at scraps today. Simple as that. The shot from Parika, he's got to do better. Again, off the bench, you'd think he'd just have a bit more about him, and just really poor. You can tell he was, out with a while with injury, because he was really rusty, and that shot, it just got right underneath it, and it's just such a missed opportunity today. It's just a game we should be winning, to not win against Coventry, and the first half performance was disgraceful. The second half slightly improved, but we just left ourselves too much work to do. So man of the match, Ekong, because he got a few really good headers away, but today it was just not good. Really disappointing. We didn't bounce back from that game against QPR. We at least stopped the rot of defeat, but yeah, it was a game we really had to bounce back, and we didn't get the win. So we go to Vicarage Road next Saturday against Bristol City, and it's an absolute 6-pointer, because we need wins, we need confidence back in that team, because it's really struggling at the minute. But thanks for watching my review of this game. It's a slightly longer one than usual, but hopefully a good one, and I'll see you in the next one.